Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald, and today we look back on a tragic event that occurred on October 18th, 1801 at the Laigh Kirk in Kilmarnock. It's a haunting tale of panic, tragedy and loss, a reminder of how fragile life can be in moments of chaos. On that fateful Sunday in 1801, the Laigh Kirk, a parish church in the heart of Kilmarnock, East Ayrshire, was filled to capacity. Churches in neighbouring parishes were vacant that day, and many had flocked to Laigh Kirk to hear the famed preacher, Great McKinlay, deliver his sermon. But what was meant to be a day of spiritual gathering turned into one of Scotland's most devastating church tragedies. The Laigh Kirk had long been under scrutiny for its structural integrity. The building, completed in 1750, was by then too small for its growing congregation. Passageways were narrow, staircases even more so, and there was a lingering local fear, fueled by a prophecy, that the church would one day collapse on its people. Still, no one could have predicted the horror that would unfold. As the service was about to begin, a small piece of plaster fell from the ceiling. This insignificant event was enough to spark immediate panic among the congregation. A cry rang out. Some said it was a shout that the church was falling. The already nervous attendees, cramped into the tight passageways, responded in fear. The resulting stampede was nothing short of chaos. People rushed to the doors, desperate to escape what they believed was an imminent collapse of the building. The narrow staircases became death traps. Those on the upper levels of the church were pressed together, some tripping and falling, crushing those beneath them. At the foot of the stairs, people found themselves trapped against inward opening doors, unable to push them open in time to escape. In the panic, some desperate souls attempted to leap from the gallery into the body of the church, hoping to avoid the crush, while others hurled themselves from the windows into the graveyard below. But these frantic actions could not save everyone. By the time the dust had settled, 29 people were dead. Many had been crushed or suffocated in the stampede. Another person would die from their injuries in the days that followed, bringing the total death toll to 30. It was a horrific disaster, a day of grief and loss for the town of Kilmarnock. In the aftermath of the tragedy, the Laigh Kirk was swiftly torn down. The fear that had surrounded the building's structural safety proved all too real, and it was clear that the church could no longer stand. The following year, in 1802, a new, more spacious church was built on the same site, providing a safer place of worship for future generations. The Laigh Kirk that stands today in Kilmarnock is the third church built on this historic spot, still an active parish church within the Church of Scotland. The disaster of 1801, though lesser known in the grand sweep of Scottish history, left an indelible mark on Kilmarnock. It serves as a poignant reminder of how human panic can turn small events into catastrophic disasters, and how communities, even in the face of such overwhelming loss, find ways to rebuild and move forward. Interestingly, the Laigh Kirk's modern legacy includes a sculpture that adds a symbolic depth to its history. Outside the church, you'll find a remake of the famous Homeless Jesus statue, a powerful piece that resonates with the values of compassion and care for the most vulnerable in society. The church today, though shaped by its tragic past, continues to embody a spirit of renewal and service. So, as we remember the events of October 18th, 1801, let us reflect on the strength of the community that endured such a heavy loss. The story of Laigh Kirk is not only one of tragedy, but also of resilience and hope, as the people of Kilmarnock came together to build a safer, more enduring place of worship. Thank you for joining me on this episode of This Day in Scottish History. I'm Colin MacDonald, and I'll see you next time as we delve in another chapter of Scotland's rich and varied past. Until then, haste to you back.